How's it going, guys? What of course you'll be seeing today is a breakdown and review of the raid auto rifle in Destiny called the Harrowed Anguish of Drystan. This weapon has a chance to drop from Oryx himself, the raid boss and the Taken King, and can drop anywhere between 310 to 320, and the normal mode version of this, just called Anguish of Drystan, has a chance to drop from 300 to 310. Statistically, this weapon has a fire rate of 77%, an impact rating of 28, a range of 21, a stability rating of 54%, a reload percentage of 41, and a starting magazine size of 32. So it's pretty balanced from what you can see. And a quick point of note, the weapon card information is wrong, listing the magazine size listed at 52. It's only 32. On preliminary look, the stats actually paint a picture of this weapon being a poor man's Shadow Price, if you remember that famed auto rifle. It has the same fire rate and damage per shot model archetype, but it has a terrible reload speed of 41, just like other raid weapons. And when compared to other auto rifles, it has only an average base stability to start and a very average range on the base stats as well. Nothing of those two stand out. It has several perks to address these deficiencies, and I'll get to those in a minute. In terms of PvP damage output, it hits for 19 on body shots and 26 on headshots. With regard to the skill tree, all Anguish of Drystans are the same, minus a bonus perk, or minus one perk, because they're raid weapons. They all deal kinetic damage, and they all have an active perk at all times called the Will of Light, which causes increased damage to taken enemies. You have three clear options in terms of ballistics: linear compensator, which increases recoil but makes it more predictable, and buffs range and impact, and that would be my choice like most other raid weapons. Accurized ballistics, which increases range and impact but also recoil, and lastly field choke, which does the exact same thing as accurized ballistics. And like I said earlier, my choice is linear compensator because of the predictability it offers in recoil, and this gun does have quite a bit of kick to it the longer you hold down the trigger. When breaking down the skill tree further, the first perk is called Cocoon, which reloads the weapon when you switch weapons for about 5 to 6 seconds. This is especially useful in raid situations where you want to prioritize DPS instead of reloading your weapons, or even against strike bosses. The next three perks which you'll have a choice over are Fitted Stock, which increases weapon stability, Lightweight, which dramatically increases character agility, and Braced Frame, which dramatically increases your stability but does cut your magazine size down from 32 to 26. For me, despite the fact that you're losing 6 bullets, it's only 6 bullets, Braced Frame would be your best bet because it almost doubles your stability. The last perk on my weapon, though all raid weapons have a chance to roll between 4 or 5 perks as this last perk, is called Eye of the Storm. It has your accuracy increase as your health gets lower. This might help you out in 1 versus 1 PvP encounters or some PvE situations, perhaps against when you're getting mobbed by mobs of enemies. But of course, this isn't one of the desired perks you can get because there are significantly better perks you can get a roll on here. With regard to my overall impressions in PvE, if you can get used to the lesser than average range and the slower reload, which can be countered by taking advantage of Cocoon, it can certainly be effective. It does have quite the inherent kick to it, especially if you're spraying and praying, so firing in concentrated 5 or so round bursts tends to give me the most accurate and best success. It can take care of mobs and trash easily and effectively, but will sort of struggle a bit when it comes to majors and ultras, so bear that in mind. It's best suited for short to medium range, especially when dealing with plenty of enemies. In PvP, it's a short to medium range weapon at best. You'll need to land approximately 7 or so headshots to kill an enemy, possibly more, especially if you're hitting a couple on the body shots, so missing shots with this weapon is extraordinarily unforgiving. Knowing this, you'll struggle against enemies that can close ground quickly with a shotgun, and you'll be beat by players using pulse rifles and scout rifles at range, especially now before the December patch comes out, balancing weapons. It is the definition of a middleman weapon. It doesn't have any extreme strengths, but at the same time, it's not extraordinarily weak in anything beside reload either. Having said that, in the Crucible, I wouldn't use it as my main weapon, but as of now. But come the December weapons patch, I might reconsider my stance because there's going to be a nerf to pulse rifles and a 3% buff to this high impact per shot damage archetype for auto rifles. So overall, auto rifles aren't the best archetype to use in Destiny as of now, especially in the Crucible, and this weapon certainly isn't the best of its archetype to use. But I'd wait for the December buff before immediately scrapping or infusing this weapon, because it still may hold some potential, because it is quite fun to use as well. See you later.